Okay, so hey guys, this is chapter 21 of my book. And strangely enough, I just got a package from Amazon and there was a box that I didn't order and it was full of like fun little party favors, like really cheap shit. And it was from Jeff Bezos. He cursed it because they can curse packages and stuff. Like in the astral, I had a dream that Amber Heard had sent me a bunch of packages and they were all cursed and I just kicked them over. This one I opened, but I went back in time and changed the outcome. I lifted the curse before I opened the box. So this is what I deal with. Just part of it. But we're on chapter 21. I went back to David, took an Uber, which he told me he would pay for. David always told me he was going to reimburse me for everything, but never did. I would buy groceries, and when I would get back to David's, they would all be thrown out. It was absolutely insane. I don't even know what it was about. But he had the Antichrist in him, so he was just doing things to bother me. By the time I got out, he had a new girlfriend, but I didn't know. The first night I got there, he went to go see her when he was getting toilet paper. This was not the girl he cheated on me with. He cheated on me with someone else as well. So, and he said it was just because she was hot. So this is what I'm talking about. You don't hurt people like this in the new world. There are new laws for everything. And part of those laws, Jeff Bezos, are not cursing people and not going into my nephew to talk about the death of a TikToker while I'm sitting at dinner. Jeff, do you hear me? Do you hear me? You fucking hear me? He says, yes, I fucking hear you. I am better at you. I'm better than you. At everything. At everything, Jeff. You'll stop now? Davos? What about Davos? Hillary Duff played at Davos? Davos is over? No more Davos? No more talking about privatizing water anymore? So no one has clean water because that's what you talked about at Davos. It's not going to happen? Good. Sorry. This is what I deal with all the time. By the time I got out, this is telepathic harassment. This is what they do. It's a brain-to-brain interface. And they all have some kind of synthetic telepathy, like a Neuralink or a neurocerebral hookup. I'll get to that, but it's absolutely, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then I have telepathy on top of it. So, but they shouldn't. They don't deserve it. The first night I had gone there, he went to go see her when getting toilet paper. He took hours. He had gone for 6-hour drives sometimes, and I just thought his PTSD was kicking in and he needed to get away. For whenever I would uncover something new, he would threaten to put himself in the hospital because he felt like he was unraveling. Now that I'm being more realistic, he was probably going out to see and sleep with other women. He would panic because the Antichrist soul knew all of the information already, and the closer I got to the answers, the more mad he became. He told me that he was so in love with me before I went to the hospital, and now he wasn't. I think the Antichrist had left him. Either way, this is the kind of narcissist a thing will say to you to blame you for how they are feeling. But he did tell me he was absolutely broken, and like when I left. And maybe the Antichrist was still in him and had him cheat on me. I'm not sure because he had to try and stay in the body. Possibly. I'm not sure. We're having a little session here. David's soul is upset that he thinks I'm talking shit about him. And or it's a fake stream because this is what they do, and they do it constantly to get me to not finish my book. When I got out and continued what I had been doing all along, prophesizing, someone named Mr. O contacted me online. He said he was God and that he would buy me a whole new wardrobe if I went with him. He said he would fix my teeth, which is what David told me as well. When I first met David, I lost about 3 caps that I didn't get fixed because David said he would pay for me to get a full set of bottom implants. I figured I would need the implants eventually anyways, and I completely ignored my teeth. As I had said, the people watching you, which is everyone I have mentioned and more, can rot you from the inside out if they want to. I think I had been used for alien progeny as well for a very long time. Pregnancy sucks the nutrients out of one's body, and the illness I suffered at the hands of possession were enough to rot my teeth out as well because I couldn't hold down even water. So when you're dehydrated, your teeth start to decay. They have weapons that can decay your teeth, and when you are pregnant, it decays your teeth because the babies suck the nutrients from you. And in my case, I think they had been using me for progeny since I was about 6 years old. Or before that. Because I'm fertile. I was fertile even before then because I'm Mother Nature. I ignored my needs due to the spells put on me surrounding David. Everything with these people is spells. I want to make it clear that I do really care for David. It's not just a spell, I don't think. I do really care for David. We are friends. And I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I know he had the Antichrist in him. But I do care very deeply for him. And I don't think it's all a spell. Some of it, a little bit, but to be drawn, but not all of it. I do have love for each and every one of you. Each and every single one of you I have love for. And nobody can take that from me. Nobody is ever going to take that away from me. Mr. O told me David was cheating on me with his reptilian girlfriend. I burst into tears at the idea of leaving. I confronted David about it, and he said he wasn't cheating, and I believed him. Mr. O said he was going to come to me that night and fuck me in front of David. I went over to the bed to lie down afterwards and started having spontaneous orgasms. I must have had at least 40 before David became jealous and wanted to join in. The only thing that kept me from believing Mr. O was God at that point was that first off, I was God, and that he had something about how much money he had and how people should be bowing down to him because of all his wealth on his page. My God doesn't subscribe to such constructs. That and I told him where I was, and he thought the town was in New Hampshire when in fact I was in another state completely. My God is Mother Nature, and I happen to be Mother Nature, so you should worship the Mother Nature in you. That is what I believe. I don't want people with pictures of me, and that may happen, but I hear it's already happening, but I mean, I want people to appreciate the beauty of creation. And I know that this is a simulation, but underneath is a clean earth now. We have healed everything. Underneath is a beautiful, clean earth. And the matrix will be shut off, and we will have that clean earth. About a week later, I found David's messages to his new girlfriend. Her PFP was a picture of the two of them. He was headed to her house when I was sitting right there in his apartment. I called my father to come get me. I remember scolding David before I left. I told him I would expose him, and his face turned red, his eyelids swelled up and turned purplish, and he began clutching his stomach. I do this not to spite him, but to enlighten you and to enlighten him. The Antichrist cannot use his body as a container again if I expose him. That's what I thought. I don't know if that's what's happened, if he still uses him as a container. He says he does to talk to me because he misses me. But when I got home, I was just sitting in the kitchen when I pointed an astral gun at my face and took a shot. This is an astral gun. It's just a make-believe. They made me point it looked like what was like in your head, like a gun, and this is what happened. I could feel pieces of my brain missing from all from the wound. as if it had shot through my skull and I had like blown my brains out. I immediately sat down and started reconfiguring my brain. I remade all the parts of the brain, looking up all the components of a functioning human brain, and I used my hand to reform and recalibrate them. Entities actually started trying to take my brains. Eventually, I started cursing my body parts so that there would be consequence when any entities tried to take what was rightfully mine. Donald Trump was one of them. He said, I have one of your brains, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work for anyone but me. I saw Illuminati members hiding in caves. Matt Parker and Trey Stone were amongst them. I knew that they were all building underground bunkers that were more like mansions, but caves? This is because there are tunnels underneath the houses, Hollywood, underneath the houses, underneath the Vatican, underneath us everywhere that lead to like adrenochrome caskets with children in them, with like piss and shit like funneled into their mouths and things like this. Like, that is what I'm talking about. They actually have that stuff. That's torture devices, vices around their heads, hideous, horrible things. And I think that they use programs possibly to keep them alive and hook them up to pumps. And Mark Zuckerberg in Hawaii is building a huge mansion underneath a town in Hawaii. This was all in preparation for the apocalypse, which we averted with light work. They were all vampires, literally ones feeding off of adrenochrome. David happens to be an energy vampire. Apparently, when the Antichrist was in David, he was using stores of adrenochrome in the astral to keep form, but sometimes he would shapeshift. I had heard Paul Rudd early on and Seth Rogen. Dwayne Johnson was a heavy adrenochrome addict and would throw little tantrums when he was hooked up to synthetic telepathy. When he couldn't hear it, he couldn't use anymore, and he would be judged by me. The ones who didn't drink adrenochrome are energy vampires, feeding off of the fame and attention you provide them with. And in fact, I think they're all vampires. I think they're all reptilians, alpha reptilians, draconians, and alpha draconians, even TikTok influencers. The underground mansions were to be where they run to when the apocalypses were triggered. I had seen videos. If the apocalypses were triggered, which they're not going to be. I had seen videos with these massive underground tunnels that had everything you could need to survive down there. Trucks were running through them delivering supplies. I received the amethyst on the astral plane. The final chakra, my third eye, had busted wide open. That's like in Revelations. There's something about an amethyst. It's actually referring to the purple chakra. It is symbolic of royalty, groundedness, tranquility, and calm. Amethyst provides clarity and insight. It is mentioned somewhere in Revelations. I would refer to the Bible for some things. I had lifted 7 seals of the Antichrist by using the Bible as a guide. I just had to decode it and get the real story on what had happened. I began being called into Armageddon constantly. I would just finish one battle for another one to start. I forgot I had dragons, and I commanded the armies of good. Sometimes it was over in mere seconds, but may have lasted longer depending on what dimension or plane we were on. It was necessary for me to always be ready for battle. I would just grid them and flank them in the beginning, destroying them as a dragon, raining a blue light fire on them. I could only tell what side they were on from the coloring. As I think I had mentioned, the demons were reddish black, while the angel and astral warriors on our side were a bluish white. I don't know if I was seeing real Armageddon or not. I might have been seeing parts of it, but the good side won. So when we had interstellar issues, I manned those armies as well. I did interdimensional policing, and the interdimensional police worked with me as well. That was what the Brock eradication protocol was. It was a Rocco eradication protocol. And they had to go around getting rid of them. It was just like the TV show Rick and Morty. It was nutty, but that's what they did. I was taken to dimension 666 one night, Donald Trump's dimension. There were people all around these acid pits, and they spiraled up to the top. They had nothing in their eyes, just endless black. Okay, so there's something coming out of me right now that's evil, I think. We're going to put a force field around all of them and keep them in that force field. All of them that are coming out are now trapped, and we're going to put them in a void and imprison them there. And that's how I handle things. There were people all around these acid pits, and they spiraled up to the top. They had nothing in their eyes, just endless black. I saw them with my parents and put them in acid baths with my dogs, and were making the pain worse and worse for them by pushing these red buttons. There was nobody home. They were demons functioning under Donald. I was in shock and just sat and stared. The Antichrist at the time they showed me David's, because that was the body he was in, showed up in boatloads of riches, $383 billion worth, entering Trump's dimension. I passed out after that. So I'm hearing that Lucifer can't impregnate me anymore. So that was a false vision. But this is what happens, and some of this stuff really happens and some of it doesn't. But I have to police the universe constantly with the interdimensional police. They said, yes, you do, and you do a very good job of it. You are our savior. I love you guys. I love you too. I passed out after that. I saw myself in the astral plane go to the skies where there were rings of power. I had put my hand up and a ring was slapped onto me. I heard it came from Casitas and had to undo whatever magic it had on it. He tried to drag my dad down with him, which was what happened. And I wonder if the demon programming, if that was who was in my dad at the time. And maybe my mom might have had Persephone in her, my brother might have had Apis Mara, and my nephew might have had Kronos. Like, they pick bodies and they man the bodies. And that's what happened with the COVID shots. They didn't do anything bad. No, not really bad. But most of them didn't believe me. My mom believes some of what I say, but I'm not sure if she truly believes me. So, no, they don't believe me. It's very difficult. And, my dad being in mental health is difficult too, and stuff like that. It's very hard. The TikTok people can see through my camera, and I can hear them. And they're asking me questions. But, you could never just put out your finger on this level, because demons would put magic rings on you. At one point, I held my hand out and Lucifer or Satan branded me with slave. They're asking me if I'm under any kind of guardianship. I am not under any kind of guardianship. No, I'm not. I I'm a sovereign being. They're asking me why I ended up in the hospital, because people didn't believe me. They just didn't believe me. And it got difficult. No, I didn't. With the knife situation, I didn't. I went straight down to the basement and I had it down at my side. I didn't do anything. I didn't brandish it. I didn't threaten anyone. I didn't do anything. And I ended up in the hospital. So, when people don't believe you, what you're experiencing, these are the kind of things. This is part of the program. You could never just put out your finger on this level because the demons would put magic rings on you. It might be demons that I'm talking to, I'm not sure. They are talking to me constantly. But these are the kind of things that happen when you have experiences like this, spiritual and psychic experiences and telepathic experiences. The mental health community doesn't believe you. At one point, I held my hand out to Lucifer, and Lucifer or Satan branded me with slave. They had all the gods locked up in prisons, and they were calling the area beyond the skies True God Concentration Camp. I had to undo the magic of the rings and free the gods from the camp. They had plans on making us battle, me and everyone else, like Project Ibis. My plans were to set everybody free, and I succeeded in the vision. I got codes telepathically from the Scientologists on this plane. I had posted them on X and didn't realize at first that they were all end codes. The end codes are for certain things, and you can end certain things with them, but they also, I think these might have been apocalypse codes. I saw the souls fall to earth as if the world had ended. They were all shattered orbs. I was stepping on the souls as they were just lying there, everywhere. I had to recreate everything so the souls had somewhere to go. They didn't seem to ascend to heaven. I wondered, is Earth our heaven? We get reincarnated and get to see our families again on Earth. This is a learning annex, not to be taken for granted, but there were soul funnels all over the astral plane that were manufactured. So the TikTok people say that they do have access to the camera and they do watch me when I do videos and stuff because they have access to all your electronics and all of that's in the user agreement, but that wasn't them. That was the demons. So this is how I know. You don't know who you're listening to when you're listening to them. There were soul learning annex, not to be taken for granted, but there were soul funnels all over the astral plane that were manufactured. I believe the dimensions of heaven are here on Earth. That's why they wanted to destroy it so badly. Some of these entities has hijacked reincarnation and were choosing the bodies we are placed in. That was why celebrities were so beautiful. They were made to enchant us with their beauty, so we don't look past that and see what they're truly involved in. I began recreating everything that may have been destroyed. Everything was made in one night. Everything was back online. The next day, I went right back to dancing. I wasn't going to let those visions scare me. I was freeing everyone from their cells in my body with every battle, as my body seemed to have all the hells in them. My body seemed to be hell because the universe seemed to be hell, or the multiverse seemed to be hellish. And I was freeing souls from that experience. I had reached a level where I was able to clear out the boneyard. There were beings trapped in my bones, as this had been made a level of hell, or what I think it was. I was getting keys on the astral plane that were unlocking levels for me to free the souls. Cerebrus had even seemed to help me, as he didn't want to be in hell anymore, and he was the guardian of the gates to hell. I received keys from him. Every time I destroyed a level of demons, I received keys that opened up a different dimension, and I was able to free the souls. Baphomet would dance with me, a big goat-like being. They seemed like they wanted to be free of the hells that they had created, and I was hoping to clean everyone off in order to get them home. If the Antichrist was once human and jumped bodies, and these entities may have been human at one point as well, then these entities may have been human at one point as well. The reptilian blood had just eaten up all their mammalian DNA. I believed I could bring everyone back if I wanted to at the end. Lucifer came to me to create, and I began to remake Earth from memory, by myself. I had a great creator cap on, and he did some sort of spell to try and take it away from me. I saw what I believe was a replica of the Galactic Federation's ship in the cosmos. They had a soul sucker attached to it, and the politicians were on the bridge looking out with Brock. I was a massive Eve. I reached my toes into the bridge, breaking the glass, attacking Brock with my toes, snipping the cap from off his head. The ship had a chamber installed in the bottom of it where they were going to electrocute me exponentially and make it a star attraction. The soul sucker was at full force, and I felt my soul being sucked out of me faster and faster. I started monitoring my breathing and making more soul so that they couldn't possibly win this thing. I felt like I was dying inside. A depression loomed over me as they tried to funnel my soul into this contraption. I kept opening it up and letting myself free again. They truly didn't like me, and there was no rhyme or reason to it. It was just because I'm more powerful than they are. That's the only reason. I would speak out loud to everyone, telling them all beings have the capacity for change. I told everyone not to worship me, but to pay tribute to nature and to the me inside of you, your inner child. I started looking up the royals' houses and finding them on the astral plane, as well as government organizations such as the Pentagon and the White House. All I had to do was blow on them, and they were gone in the astral plane. We don't need places like this, as if this is what the government ends up doing with the power. If this is what the government ends up doing with the power, and no one needs a palace all to themselves. That's greed at work. It was also figurative. If we have a governing body in the future, it will be kind and generous governing body, not one full of entities that are trying to drag you down to a hell with them. I had unlocked true heart's intention, which means that things don't happen on the astral plane unless they are cleared by my true heart's intention or my higher self. Therefore, what the demons did through me wouldn't happen because it wasn't coming from my heart's desires. So when I blew something up astrally, if it is not what I truly desire in my heart, it doesn't happen. Or it's all I had to do was blow on it and it was just gone. Or demolished. So this means in the future, this is also foreshadowing for the future. When things are destroyed on the astral plane, it's foreshadowing for the future that these structures are going to fall. I saw the World Bank collapse as well as Wall Street and the Federal Reserve. I was getting so big that I couldn't be stopped. I went from dimension to dimension, collapsing the entertainment industry, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, along with the others I had already blown away. So BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street own like all of the companies that you buy stuff from. All of them. It's all a big monopoly. I heard on Dimension 666 Warren Buffett pulled a gun on Donald Trump at one point. They had started to turn on each other, which always happens when things aren't turning out the way one has hoped or planned. I was told all the beings have faith. It just depends on what you have faith in, and more of the beings in the stream were backing down, watching what I was capable of. I received more weapons on the astral plane, and Apollo surrendered his harp to me, or gave it to me. I played instruments in the air to beat of songs, some of which I never heard, and it changed the frequencies in the airwaves. Because I feel the frequencies, or I don't feel the frequencies, I feel the rhythm and I feel the I guess the frequencies, I feel it all in my body. So when I listen to music, I dance to the heartbeat of Earth. I felt the music in my soul, and I'd always felt that way. I slaughtered beings in levels as if it were a video game. I was given new weapons and wielded them like a pro. I streamed, and evidence of the supernatural was caught on video. In one of the videos, I saw Gaia, a bluish-white light appeared blinking on a clip of my live. I spoke about as I spoke about Rockefeller making the education system to train slaves for 8 hours a day. I talked about the elites regularly. In another video, Gaia came onto the screen as a cartoon star. I never did graphics on my video. I don't know how. On another video, Azul, a fan fiction demon, wrote to me over a video. I was watching over a video I was watching how furious he was. I think that the wars were not happening and the sea demons weren't coming out for end times. So all these videos are on my Facebook on Fugitive K, and I have them, some of them on my Twitter, and I have some of them on TikTok videos. I hit the witches level and it looked like a board game, and there was a 22-sided die that I was supposed to roll. Instead, I broke the board and destroyed the entire level and redesigned it. I turned the volcanoes into cloud-shaped castles and showed those witches who was boss. I danced for Mother Nature, and some of the entities wanted to have a dance battle with me. I saw the spiders of the apocalypse and slayed them with my symbol, the female symbol with 3 strikes in the body. All the evil beings that were planned to be unleashed if the combination of the apocalypses were to happen fell to my sword. That was the symbol I had used on all the demonic entities. I got up to the Watchers one day and I sliced them up to redesign their world. The Weeknd showed me his Night Realm in order for me to smash it and redesign it. It was made to be fun for me, not scary. I don't know, it was pretty scary, but it wasn't fun. I danced. I did this for Mother Nature. I did this for you. I did this for me. I did this to free us of all this shit. Because this is supposedly a prison planet. And it's because I was here. Because it was my planet. It's all mine. And I'm getting it all back. And then we're going to have a free society. And I used that symbol with the circle with the line and 3 strikes. Because it's the Holy Trinity in the female symbol. It's a very strong symbol. There are witches and warlocks in the Illuminati who are hell-bent on my demise. Kim Kardashian got a lock of Marilyn Monroe's hair to conjure her. She was an Illuminati hit. So I think she was part of the White Lighter conspiracy because she took a bunch of pills supposedly, but JFK, she had supposedly told her a bunch of stuff, and she called officials telling them that she was going to expose everything. Robert F. Kennedy, I think she told. And she was found dead of an overdose. They can make you overdose on things because they can up the amount of whatever you're taking in your system through the program, through like microchips and nanotech. She had called someone close to JFK and told them that she was going to expose confidential information. Her overdose happened directly after this. Through witchcraft, they can make you ill, they can make you take more than you would, they can kill you. And through the nanotech, they can up the dosages of things in your system. I've experienced it myself. I climbed a beanstalk up to the giants and took out my anger with my sword on them. I got word from the Asgardians that they needed help above the Rainbow Bridge, the Bifrost, and I traveled there through portals to help Odin and Thor with Loki. I used the armies of the Krakens and sea beings to take down their ship. We defeated them in record time. No matter how tired I was, I did not forsake them. I'm being told that I didn't need to be at those battles. Those are spiritual battles. And your spirit form fights in them. But when I fought with Gaia, it was nice. I prophesied that 2 black holes equidistant from each other may be time travel. I went back in time to the East India Spice and Trade Company and tanked their ships, ordering the sea beings to take down any fleets. They wanted their habitats as badly as I wanted my Earth back, and they took down the ships with ease. I did the same with the colonization of the Crusades. I ran out the dates and history to let them all know when and where to attack, and they did not disappoint. I had a telepathic tie to all animals. They're all me. Mother Nature is all animals, and that's why you should be kind to all animals, because I am a person, and there is a God above us that is Mother Nature, and I am the God avatar, and you should listen to me. And there are also frequencies in the air, which I will get to, that cause animal abuse, or I already got to, that cause you people to do these things. But it is disgusting what people do. Absolutely vile, and I'm absolutely sick of it. And I want it to stop now. I went for a ride on a brontosaurus when I went back in time to the dinosaurs. I went back to when I was Eve. And stopped the gang rape. Only had sex with Lucifer and then blew him away so that I could raise the Antichrist to be good. I think that on that timeline, Eve had David. And I hear they're still on that timeline, living in Eden. The fallen angels from other dimensions came and asked me, the angels, if they could have sex with them to make children. I heard Balthegor wasn't such a bad dad until he couldn't handle fatherhood anymore. Even the angels got to raise the babies how they wanted to, and only if they wanted children at all. I hear that they did have, the angels, did you have babies? They did have babies, and they turned out wonderfully because the angels raised them. This is the thing. Humans were raised by demons, essentially, and that's why the evils, the powers that be, those heavy bloodlines in the beginning, that were running things before I got involved. So I'm hearing Gaia too, which is a Gaia from the Dengue dimension, who is the most annoying being ever. She's absolutely irritating, and she is constantly nagging and saying stupid things, and it's a constant. This is an absolute constant. This is what God deals with. So this is supposed to drive me mad. It didn't drive me mad. I did a couple things that looked a little funny, and I was misjudged, but that's it. If Satan and Lucifer are able to work through entities and people, then so am I. I went back to World War II where Anne Frank was. I saw her writing ferociously while I got the cyborg that the Nazis designed to have a flash mob. They were dancing, and it got the Nazis dancing. And dancing is how we get the demons off of and out of us. I was fixing the timelines to my liking. I hear I have timelines where World War II never happened because of that. World War II supposedly stopped because of that. And those timelines are still working and functioning. I coughed up demons regularly. I would cough and gag them up and spit them out. The Antichrist had given me many with his ejaculate, and I danced and sang my heart out to get rid of them. I think that's where they came from. I spent whole nights yelling at all the entities, watching for having let it get this bad. I was disappointed and sometimes angry, but mostly disappointed that this was where we were at. I knew of the notion that Mary Magdalene had 7 demons in her and had suffered possessions, but this was ridiculous. I had them running through me constantly and would sometimes spend hours trying to get them out. They were usually the fallen angels, different versions of them. Imagine having the entire Illuminati against you, all the demons, all the fallen angels from all the timelines and all the dimensions, and you can't get rid of them because they are part of the multiverse. So, it's not just the demons. The whole masonry has been after me. Everyone. The police have not cooperated with me whatsoever. I had brought those account numbers to my local police department, and they had not listened to me. They actually threw them out, and I had copies of them. So I know that some of these police officers are paid off for these sex trafficking rings, and that was a part of it. Then imagine being the multiverse. It leaves little to be desired, although the disdain for me was my motivation. I heard Tom Cruise say something about having to see the girl who cleared out the moon base. I had been calling for the NSA to walk out the entire time I prophesied to the government. I told them that they were working for fallen angels for the demise of one true God, and I've said before I lectured every day on everything I could possibly think of. They said they know, and they still work there, and they're still working. Is that true? I hear people are working for me now because I got this far. And they can't kill me in end times. I don't die by any hand but my own. And it's of old age. And I'm supposed to die at like 96 to 100. I have astrally smashed their computer systems multiple times. I have battled the machines and the satellites astrally and destroyed their chips, ceasing their functioning. I have shown my dominance in the astral plane and have not stopped destroying the government systems. I have hacked the systems with codes and changed binary coding with numerology and codes for prosperity and happiness, amongst others, to work in my favor. Eventually, I changed it to Fibonacci code, and that's what we are working with right now. I have achieved greatness astrally and will achieve greatness here on Earth as well. I hear that the astral realm might actually be reality, and like this is a simulation of some sort. But when the earth comes up and they turn off the matrix, we will not be living in the astral realm. That's the spiritual realm. So it is a real realm. So what is it? The earth should look as it was when it was the Garden of Eden, when they turn off the matrix. I started meeting people online who they were working through. One person admitted himself to a psych ward shortly after meeting me. He listened to me and ended up suicidal. When he got out, he told me Tom Hanks wanted me to make a video of me playing with myself while describing what they had all done to me. Because these people are psychopaths and sociopaths. The sociopathy, they're actors, they're not really acting. They can just become whoever they want to become because they're that sociopathic. It was disgusting. Even the idea that I would go out of my way to please these demons at all was ridiculous. These entities are so used to getting what they want because of their pull and their money that I believe they actually thought I would do it. I heard that Heath Ledger was a sacrifice to Tom Hanks that he himself demanded, and that's why he overdosed on drugs. I didn't know at the time what they could do with witchcraft, but they could make drugs more potent and your system unable to process them in order to elicit an overdose. They could even administer drugs into you that you can't see. The interdimensional agents were invisible. They were invisible when they wanted to be, and they were seen when they wanted to be, and the vampires can function outside their bodies, I think, as like being like almost like ghosts, kind of. Because I've been experienced, like, Warren Buffett came to me at one point asking if he could fuck me hard in the butt, and I said no. Like, it was insane. And he said that his granddaughter saw a video that I put up about him being evil, and he was angry about it. It's been absolutely insane. I saw vampires as well. I saw and felt them bite me, and nothing ever came of it. The agents would shoot me up with adrenochrome thereafter, and it would do nothing but make me nauseous. I had the barons expose their chests to me one night, and I must have staked hundreds of them. I had youth to offer them to be young again and come back, even earn their way up with karmic law. They said they don't come back. They're trying to transmute to pure light. They're not feeding anymore. It seemed like a lot of people wanted to come home once I showed them what I was made of. I was able to burn everyone's contracts with Satan and the Illuminati and the Masonry and divorce and annul all the marriages in hell. Or all the marriages to the demons. In the meantime, Bill Gates has been trying to have your vegetables vaccinated for COVID so that they could expand on his project, Concentration Camps of the Mind through Skynet. I believe the vaccine has ascension blockers in it to keep you trapped on an earth that they intended to destroy. In California, a bill was just passed to vaccinate your tomatoes and lettuce. I've entertained the idea that there may be people on Mars already, and what we are seeing on Earth here are cyborgs. I don't think that they got there because I actually closed the firmament when they tried to leave the planet and tried to trap them here. And I succeeded. They're not going anywhere. So don't worry about the elite betting ring on Mars. It's not happening. I sang Lost Boy by Ruth B. in my kitchen and flew through the dimensions to where Peter Pan was. I was Wendy Darling, who was Peter Pan. The Lost Boys had battled scheduled with the pirates the next day. I suggested we pay them an early morning visit and ambush them. We planned out our attack and descended upon the pirates around 4 a.m. Tinkerbell was there, a little lesbian fairy, and we seemed to have been lovers of some sort, even though she was very tiny. We had like a love affair, but we never slept together. It was just a kindred spirits. We had a connection that was unbreakable. I cried when I left them, but I started realizing that there was a version of me, the heroine, in all the storybooks. I saw my library full of books, and you all are characters in those storybooks in the multiverse. To another dimension, your life may just be a fairy tale. I met the guardians of the portals, and they gave me a lotus flower that symbolizes purity. I met the fairies and was privileged to see their world, which was flawless nature in another dimension. I met the guardians of the galaxy, and I freed the golden children and acquired the golden chair, which has something to do with the Chinese secret society of like kings or something. All the benders were now mine. I got the eye of the Sauron and destroyed it, which I believe was part of the Black Knight. I went all the way up to the Pentaveret where the 5 men in power, I think it's actually 6, tried to get me to play the game that they do with people's lives. I was a victim to this game. The last thing I wanted to do was play it. I destroyed the board and crushed their world. And I heard Bill Gates goes in the middle. They play Wookiee Cookie with him. Their world was dark. I had seen where the book deals were made on the astral plane as well. All things that happened here on Earth are predetermined by the powers that be astrally before they happen. I wanted a return to the natural order. I spoke to the sea people and had their entire system rearranged when I was making laws for the new world. They started giving one woman power and allowing them to govern their society. I don't remember why the subject of sex was so important. But it was probably because the men had just lost power and wanted to know where their new system was at with sex. I told them that they could have oral sex with whoever they wanted, but not to share their vaginal portals with more than one man at a time. That was, don't have sex with more than one person at a time in a relationship. The men had used women as slaves before this, so they were used to getting anything they wanted. They had started to catch STDs, which I didn't realize they had. I tried to accommodate everyone. I told them just to stick with one partner at a time and to get tested for these diseases before engaging. I started looting the 1% and storing the money with the sea people. Within a short period, I realized the astral money might not be safe and sent it to the angels to watch over them. Poseidon, did you steal my money? He took some of it. And the sea people, they took some of it. I'm taking it back. It's going up to the heavens. That's how I do my spells. And I have my seals. Gaia is going to do the seals for me right now because I'm in the middle of reading. It's not clear, but astral money may determine your future in some way. I ended up in the underworld one day from alluding to the idea that God was dead. The underworld was much like Spirited Away. There were these frog-like jinns all over the place. It was the saddest place I had ever been. The moment I got there, the entities asked if they could do a scavenger hunt with my organs. I said yes, even though I didn't want to. This answering for me business was getting old. My organs were sent all over the world within seconds. People had been waiting to spiritually buy out my organs to curse them, and I felt empty and eat them. Like I was dying. I started calling out countries where my organs were. I got all my organs back after finding the majority of them and left the underworld and never wanted to go back ever. There was an abundance of food in there, but I felt they would try and keep me there if I ate. So I decided not to eat anything at all. For some reason, I felt like it was made out of people. Like cannibalism. I wasn't supposed to smoke when I was there either. Or something like that. They were trying to convince me I wasn't supposed to smoke. You can astral eat and astral smoke, and you can astrally do drugs. You can astrally do all this stuff if you're at a certain level. But it doesn't have exactly the same effect, but it seems to satiate the body. I think this is how many people in the Illuminati keep their figures. If you climb the levels of the masonry, I believe you can eat on the astral plane and you won't be as hungry in the physical one. Something like that. They might do that, or they do sacrifices or a number of other things to get fit. I heard Lizzo did a bunch of sacrifices and a bunch of witchcraft to get skinny, and she worked out a little bit, but it wasn't. She said she worked out a lot, but she also did a bunch of witchcraft to get that skinny that fast. So this is how these people get things done, and their appearance comes from deals they had made and things like that, and bodies they had been put in through the reptilian harvest moon. I'm going to stop there. Thank you. I'll be back with the next installment soon. Bye.